All right. Okay. So I want to start this episode with this very interesting video I saw. I mean, we can have a conversation about the validity of it and all of those things if we could actually find the research. But I just wanted to play the video, and then we can read through some of the context.
I read about this study that says that cancer research on heterosexual couples found that if a man becomes terminally ill and his wife becomes the caretaker, there is a 2.9% separation rate. If the woman is terminally ill and their male partner becomes the caretaker, they leave at a 21% rate, which basically means that men are approximately 624% more likely to separate from a woman if the woman gets sick.
Yes.
And that was on page 48 of your new book, Keep Love.
Yes.
What the fuck is going on there?
All right, so 624% times more. Video basically saying that because, the role a man typically plays in relationship is providing more on the physical side, and because the woman is not, because the woman is terminally ill, she can't provide like the physical or the emotional intimacy. So there's basically no reason for the man to stay in the relationship, even when the partner is fighting for her life. On the flip side, there's a 2.9% chance that the woman is going to leave if the man is terminally ill and she is the man's caretaker. So wanted to start with that context, right? Wanted to start with that context and just hear what I want to think. About that.
My first question would be, does this differ across dynamic, racial bonds? Like, or is this just a general picture of men in these situations?
Oh, it sounds like a general thing. I mean, we don't have the actual research, but it sounds like a general thing. But that's a good question in terms of the racial distinctions or even location, right? Is it in a North American context or not? But regardless, 624% times more likely is crazy.
Crazy.
That's a very high percentage.
Crazy. And in my mind, before seeing this, I would have thought it would have been the other way around. No hard feeling, ladies, but I would have thought, like, because the man is sick and he can't provide and all of those things, that the woman would be more likely to leave. But I mean, if this is any indication, that means that, wow, I don't know. This is actually crazy. This is actually crazy. I want to think, Rimsey.
I'm thinking because I've seen situations on both sides. I'm just, recalling in my head situations where I've seen couples that are terminally ill, and I mean that's why I find that two question actually it's a very good question, because in where we come from, our culture, I'd like to say that I've seen where both parties actually stay.
Yeah.
I've seen where the men literally help the woman down to the last.
Yeah.
I've seen where the men actually take on that nurturing, comforting role of bathing the woman, feeding her, just everything that you deem as something that the woman would do. And I've seen where it already comes natural for the woman. So I've seen where, as painful as it is, that woman would pretty much nurse that man to the last day. So that's why when Natu asked that question, I was like, that's a very good question, because I'd like to see the study, and I'd like to know what culture,
what was the sample, all of those things.
What was the sample size? Because even personally thinking about it, and I'm like, all right, if if it were my woman, and I mean, this is somebody that I love, let's say it's my woman and it's somebody, so the mother of my child, the mother of my kids, or whatever the case may be, I'm just putting it out there. Regardless of lacking the physical touch that he talks about, or in other words, I'm going to say probably the sexual aspect of it. Um, let's just be real. If the man probably got to go get the sex elsewhere, but he will take care of the woman. If I'm being real and practical, if she is at a stage where she cannot sexually please me in the physical sense, the man know where to get it from. Yes, his physical will be outside, but his mental and emotional and the caring part will be for that woman, especially if he knows that it's a case where she's on limited time.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
I find that hard to believe. But I again I anything happens in this world. So. But I can only speak for myself and the
Yeah.
situations or the scenarios that I've seen, that I've witnessed, and I can't see where that is true.
But based on what was expressed in the video, even if we can't necessarily relate to it, it appears to be a very glaring issue for whatever demographic, and if that is the case, then there it says something about even just the broader narrative about men in these situations,
Hmm.
even if we can't personally relate, and it sort of puts into context as broadly as we can look at it, just how unwilling some men are to make sacrifices in their relationship, especially, and by nature of it being sacrifice, there isn't much for you to gain, where you're giving up something because there is something else of value that demands your attention. In this case, it is your partner. It's somebody who I would imagine that this study isn't necessarily talking about a boyfriend and girlfriend, but perhaps more long term
Yeah.
relationship, marriage or common law. But it 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 certainly does not paint a good picture about men, and it also speaks to something about honor as well. Um, like, where is your honor? There's obviously nothing for you to gain in this situation, but what values are you holding to when you can easily do the opposite and nobody holds you accountable for it? Because if your partner is then is bedridden and she needs you to take care of her, you will become that primary caregiver. And if you, as a grown man, decide that you won't shoulder that responsibility, you have to leave her because she's a burden to you now. Who go beat her? You
Hmm.
see me? So what keeps you in those situations? And conversely, like, how does a woman process this when she's on the other end of it? When you look and you see, you know, when she sees her man being bedridden, like, and as the statistics show, like, they are, what is it, like, 3 times as likely to stay or more?
Oh, the women?
Yeah, yeah,
6 times.
6 times as likely to stay. If that is the case, like, how do you process that? You see me? What man them really do that? Like,
Yeah.
if this is,
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, when I saw it, not to get too personal or anything, but the first thing I thought about was how my father showed up for my mother when she was transitioning. And
yeah,
how much like he used to do everything, and then like in the last few days, like he would try his best not to cry around her, but he would cry, like he would run out of the room because he had to make sure he was still strong for her. So like when I saw it, I literally could not comprehend Like, God forbid
Yeah,
if my wife got sick. I
yeah,
can't. If my wife have a little bit of flu, me go all out to make sure she all right. Much less that, and that's kind of like a no-brainer for me because in my mind,
yeah.
how can you when somebody at the lowest?
It just,
That's the time when you're supposed to be the least bit selfish. If you really care, if you really
right.
say you love this person, and to me, love is the extreme, right? Love is the extreme. If you care for somebody, if you care for
Yeah.
on a human to human level,
Yeah.
the fact that you can leave somebody because it's not enough for them faulting and it says terminally ill. Yeah, so I don't know what kind of man could leave a woman when she's terminally
Yeah,
ill. That's not, brother, that the part of my brain, the part about physical intimacy, I go switch off because that's not the time.
Exactly.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
not,
exactly.
it's not the
Exactly.
time for it. Like on a human
Exactly.
to
And
human level, brother. We're not even
yeah.
talking relationship or love on a
Mhm.
human to human level, which is
Yeah,
like, so I don't know, might be a generational thing because I do believe like relationships now are more transactional than any other time before. Like what you can provide for me, and I'm only gonna clock in because of what you can provide.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
once you can't provide it
So
anymore, then may I clock out. But when we
so
see this, no,
there was no genuine love and connection in that
no,
relationship. If that's what,
no,
yeah, if
no, yeah,
that's
just
what's
yeah.
gonna make you leave, then
All right, so I don't know if this part three of
yeah.
you get me? And
Yeah.
it's a physical and emotional intimacy, and that means somebody's lying somewhere because as men we can't keep saying like woman too emotional, we're not show emotion, and then the point when the
Yeah,
woman can't provide for you emotionally, you dip out. Yeah, that's what I'm
yeah,
saying. That
yeah.
that
That,
that
it
it
Which
yeah
is why I say I honestly would love to see the study and the sample
yeah
size. Because again, we
the
know
break
people say all kind of crap does if they have a buzz or for make
yeah
the news
but
or
yeah
to
but
start a conversation. But that type of data is very disturbing because it
very
speaks. You're
very,
trying
yeah,
to make it seem like majority of men these days only care about that. And the minute you can't give them that, then they're out.
Literally.
That's
yeah.
pretty much what I am getting from that. And the truth is, it's not true because I've been told I am very cool, I am very um, emotionless and all. But if I can put myself into that situation, it wouldn't happen. If I love that person, like I'd show up for that person till the till the
Yeah,
last second,
yeah,
till the
Yeah.
last
yeah,
minute. You
yeah.
understand? So it is very, 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 very confusing.
I, I think it speaks to a deeper issue about how superficial, especially the modern perception of relationship is like Steph pointed out earlier, it's very transactional, and people tend to, you are only as invested in the relationship insofar as you are getting a return on what you are
Yeah,
investing in.
ROI.
Yeah, and even by that metric, it I feel like that is such a twisted way to approach relationships. Like the mindset is that what can you give to me so that I can validate what I give to you.
Hmm.
You know, people, we live in a culture where we are constantly tallying. You know, it's sort of like a spawn of the what do you bring to the table
Hmm.
conversation. If albeit in a much more serious sense, because that, oh, what do you bring to the table? Oh, you're not able to sexually satisfy me right now. I have no reason to be here. There is the approach of entering relationship thinking
Yeah.
about what you get instead of what you can give. I feel like
Yeah.
it's such a twisted way to approach it.
And the algorithm makes it worse, because more and more you're seeing, which is why I feel like we are more careful now in the topics that we talk about, because if you scroll through social media, there is nothing, you rarely see examples of healthy relationships. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if an algorithm different, but
Right.
damn near everything I see is about man on this side and woman on this side and just tearing down. You understand?
Yeah.
And it's about, yeah, this woman have to have this, man have to have this, and is just this chorus of negativity on both sides,
It's like
really.
a
And
fight between the two genders.
yes, it's fight between the two. Meanwhile, you cuddle up with the same person you talk foolishness about. So
Yeah.
your relationship healthy, but when you're online, you're talking all of these things. But there is this. I think the general sentiment still exists that men marry a body and women marry a lifestyle. Like that's the general perception that men care less about what a woman wants to do in her life and career and all of them something, and whether she can make money, and only cares about her her body, her physique, what she can provide physically. And women only care about the lifestyle, what he can provide. She don't care if he's
Yeah.
a big belly old man where she can't put on camera. But as long as he can provide the lifestyle, that's what this data is kind of is coming across as that, like, for the
Because
most part,
because
men
that's
only
what
care about the body, and if the
Yeah.
body is frail and ill, and him can't get any pleasure out of that, then him a go leave. So
Yeah.
that's how I say that's
because
scary,
guess
dog.
what? That's what social media push out.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
lot social media is a very, if you feed into it, it makes you feel like that is what the entire world is about,
yeah,
to be honest
yeah,
with you.
Yeah.
yeah. Which
And
is what I think you're saying, because our experiences don't match up to,
Yeah.
does not match up.
yeah, yeah,
It does not match up at all. So if you feed into it, you see the models, everything is about aesthetic, how it looks. So
Yeah.
you see the models and the men are attracted to that, and then you
Yeah.
see the lifestyle and all that, and it makes you feel like this is what the general and the masses
Yeah.
want.
But
when
no.
really and truly, you do have quite a few that don't even appeal.
Brother, I know what the
So-
funny thing is, like, quite frankly, if and there's a bigger issue outside social media that they say, like, men are more lonely now than any other time in history, right? And men don't have, like, core friend groups and all of those things. And I say that to say, if anyone want to talk about when I leave a woman because she's sick, but I cut her off. Like,
Yeah.
so that's what I try to understand how.
me your car friend.
You understand?
Yeah.
That's why I say 624 percent more, like, because, like, you can not to rims and nobody can approach me and say, yo, me can't do this, dog. Me get woman sick, me can't.
Yeah.
Brother, if me not thump you, like, brother, cause me I say, that don't make sense, dog. It don't make sense. Me couldn't par with you. Me couldn't even have no kind of conversation with you after that if you approach me with no foolishness. You get what I say?
Yeah. You know, also what I feel like this is probably important to think about. If I'm not mistaken, I'm almost sure there's another study that says men are probably twice as likely to cheat when their women are pregnant. So when women are pregnant, and we see a recurring theme here, like, if it is that if your woman is going through that phase and she's not able to give her body to you, some men almost take that as a green light. So, all right, you understood that this was a contract. I would have access to your body belongs to me, and you are violating that contract right now. So that gives me the moral clarity and right to say, oh, I'm permitted to go and engage in sexual favors with other women. And the fact that women are let me not say no way, but according to the study, you could say they are virtually, it's a night and day kind of situation, because they wouldn't necessarily consider that. And even if they consider that, it's not something that the data supports that they act upon. So when men, it says something about us that the moment we are inconvenienced when it comes down to our needs in our relationship, we assume, or those men assume, a sort of high ground to do things that in this case you could say like it's morally reprehensible. Like you leave your partner at their lowest and you go out there. And I've had men say to me that like if take care of your yard, but sometimes when things are going on, you just need to go out the road to blow it off. And
Why
you know
for
what
that?
I mean?
Why for
Go
that
the road.
still? Why for that?
But,
Why for that?
but you know what I'm talking about. It's the idea. It's the idea that your life is so compartmentalized that what you do outside doesn't affect your relationship. You can have a whole other family, a whole other life, and somehow you get the permission of your conscience to do that without guilt, because you feel like you earned this for some reason.